Well, good morning. It's a beautiful spring day or fall day here in Utah. In fact, it's my favorite time of the year. 'Cause all the colors are changing. Everything is evolving around, and the elk are all down around the Mower Mountain area, and they're bugling. We're going to go up tonight and meet with some very powerful individuals that are behind some things I do. I support a and helped to found an organization called Sportsmen for Fish and Wildlife, and we promote that and have had done a great job, and this has gone all the way back even to President Trump on what's being done. So I have a bunch of people coming tonight, and if you can visualize this, for those of you that have been to my home, we're going to be on the veranda grilling steaks and listening to the elk bugle tonight, and then talking about other things too, of course. So what a grand thing to think about doing. The views are so spectacular, and the big bull elk are all around us bugling away, and the day is wonderful. The skies will be full of stars, and we'll be enjoying the best of it. Well, I never imagined my life would ever get to be this point, but it happened because of positive action that was being done. And your lives are the same. It really impresses me a lot when I think about things that happen. And sometimes monumental things come along, or significant things come along that makes you step back and think about what you're doing. We just had I won't go, I'm just going to go into something, but it'll take too long, so I won't go into that. But what you have, everything you've done in the past is in your brain. It's there. You've got a lot of experience. Many of it's negative experiences, but those negative experiences can be positive for you if you use them to do positive things, to correct. And it's like anything else. If you don't do it well, then keep doing it and think about it and work on the parts that you didn't perform well on or didn't do well on, and continue to improve it. It's like playing the piano. I mean, that's so simple. Who can sit down and play Rachmaninoff's second piano concerto, with even the first maybe 5 years or so. But you get the point where you can play it clear to memory. So it's the same thing with your business here with it. We're really in the business of creating change in people's lives and then facilitating their growth. And that's an important thing to consider. So when you recruit somebody in, do you want to love them and leave them? When you gave birth to a child and raised this child, did you just abandon them to the forces that are out there in society? Of course you didn't. There are people that do that, of course. But what happens to the development of that person? It goes awry. They end up in all kinds of problems and sometimes crime and all of that. But on the other hand, what is the difference? The difference is in good parenting. You see, there's no other, I have a saying that's one within my society, but it is no other success can compensate for failure in the home. And when you think about that, that is really true with your children. So if you're not a good father, if you're just out making a living, you're not doing all you should be doing. You're doing some, of course, your primary things, a breadwinner, with that type of thing, your role as a man. Women have got a much more dynamic role in society and in life. They always have been, and they're the ones that I think women are the pillars of purity and righteousness. And when they live that type of life, they set such an example, and they put everyone on it, including husbands and children. Now, husbands, not saying they're not, but it makes them even better with what they're doing. But the Dalai Lama, who is a friend of mine, issued a statement, and he said, I think our society is going to be saved by modern women. Now, that's a very profound thing for him to think of and to say, and I was very impressed by that. So, and I think that's true, too, because that strength, that moral character, all those things that are there will do it. Now, let's flip it around to Sisel. With Sisel, it's the same thing. You're like parenting. When you bring in a new distributor, do you want to abandon them? You wouldn't abandon your children, would you? You've asked this person to partake of this opportunity that we have, And so did you tell them, well, once you're in, I'm going to go on and keep doing my business, and good luck to you. I hope you make it. But that's what happens with the majority of the people that come into this business. So there's ways to change that dramatically on what you do, but it all has to do with your involvement, with having a plan, with working that plan, with talking to a new person. Okay, sign you up. Now let's design a plan that works for you, that I can support you so you can grow and develop and build a business that you want. Now, those are pretty simple things. But when you understand everything you have in your mind from the past, as I said, is there for you to use, but your future lies in your hands. So if it just stays in your brain, faith without works is dead. But if you take that which you have within you, that you have developed, that you can learn from, that you can grow to be better, then you can go on and really progress in life, in business. And this is a business call, of course. So with that, let's talk about how to do this business well. It's a very simple business, and this isn't going to be a training meeting, but we're really in the business of recruiting and training distributors, creating change in their life, and then facilitating their success. That's your mission. Now, with doing that, what I'm going to do right now, and at the first of the month, we're going to come out with a rip snorting contest to really make those things move and move fast. We've done a lot of thought into this. It's going to cost the companies a considerable amount of money to do it, but it's very well worth it, because if you don't put out seed money, you don't get a harvest, do you? So we're going to do some things to help you and to help your new distributors that you sign up become much more successful. So in just a few days, Aaron's going to be on, and he's going to be, and you'll see it, of course, on our website, and that we'll have this spectacular contest. And what we're going to start doing now is having this, and this will go on for a little while, and then something else, and then something else. But the whole mission of what we're going to be doing for the rest of this year and into next year, and probably the next 5, 10, or 20 years to come, is going to be in pursuing these things that I talked about. We're in the business of recruiting and training new distributors. That's it. You need to create change in their life, and you need to facilitate their success. That's what we're going to function on. Now, we have a lot of people in this company that are here because they believe in the products. In fact, I think most that say that at all, I do believe in the products. But some are just in it for the products, and that's okay. If that's all you want, that's great. We need people using the products, and that's the mission of the products, is to make people's lives better. But for those of you that want more, you have to do more. Just don't sit there. People aren't going to jump into your downline without you doing something. And if they come in, do you want to see them fail? Of course you don't, but, you know, the road to failure is paved with good intentions, but you have to put them to use in what you're doing. So we're going to give you the tools to do that, and it's going to start here in just a few days, October 1st with it. In the same time, we had the Mower Mountain Retreat here, and a lot of distributors in, and I gave information like I have never given before in all of the conventions I've done for the past 30 years. It was so powerful, so technical, but I had to be somewhat ambiguous about the product. Haven't decided the name. So with those kinds of things, I showed and gave copies to the people that were there and said, this is not for promotion. It's for your edification, so you can really, truly understand and believe what this can do, but you can't pass them around because, number one, we're not talking about a definitive product, and the other thing is it could be misconstrued by agencies or other companies with that kind of thing, because it is so explicit in saying what these formulations that I talked about, particular one, is going to do. And so it's given to you. Now what do you do with it? You take that knowledge, you put it in your head, and you help people. Now you can express things to them. See, the law is very restrictive on what you can do and say with dietary supplements, because we have big pharma and big medicine against us, because their business is sickness, not health. And so our business is just the opposite. And if somebody's healthy, they lose a customer. You understand all those things, of course. So let's talk about what happened at Mower Mountain. We had a great time, a lot of fun. Everybody enjoyed it, and we had some presentations that were super. Jason gave a great presentation. Aaron did. Thomas did. And I can't take away Milo. And I can't take away from other people. I don't know everyone that offhand that gave the presentations. I know I gave my presentation, and you know what? I wasn't so satisfied with it. Now, I'm used to presenting with that kind of thing, but you have to reflect back on what you do after it. And the thing that thwarted me in my presentation was the fact that I couldn't take it to the level that I wanted to take it, and I had so much information to get out, we were information heavy. So as those of you that were there and saw that, the things that you were, they were simply photocopies, but the things that were handed to you had shocking information on them. Powerful clinical studies, powerful results that have been done on ingredient after ingredient. We didn't talk about the formulation because our formulation hasn't been tested, but it's just like your body. If you have your body, there are many different parts and components to it. You have toenails, toes, bone, tissue, muscle, liver, lung, brain, heart, all of those kinds of things, endocrine systems, all of that within your body, which is functioning together for the common good of your health and your growth. So what we have done now, and we're doing two of the most significant things that I believe the age bill is the most significant thing. It's the greatest discovery in the history of human health, but we got another one that might even surpass that or be equal to it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. In particular is that one. But you've got to remember that people want to buy benefits, not features. So you might learn a lot about a product, but you shouldn't promote a lot about the product. You should promote about what it can do for the people. And then if you have to reinforce it, use it for reinforcing. But when you give facts and features, then you get people, it's a wind down, and they listen to it and they contemplate it. When you give the effects of the product, what it does, the benefits, then people become highly motivated to use it. But these products are not it's part of the company. But the other part of this thing is the business opportunity. And the business opportunity is really a massive thing. It has to do with the compensation plan. It has to do with the products. It has to do with marketing and promotion and all of those things. So all of it comes together. So with that, you should keep those things in your proper context and work with them. But if you don't work, what do you expect to have? It's the type of thing that if you have an opportunity and you sit there and watch it, it will go by you and somebody else will benefit from it. We have the opportunity of opportunities right now. So foundationally, let's talk about the age bill to start with. The age bill was developed, and we've had the universities that have been talking to us contact us and say, you cannot mention our university or our researchers because they're trying to make a drug out of what they found in nature, what was natural. Okay, so we won't mention them. We'll simply say it this way. Perhaps, arguably, the most prestigious university, medical school in the world has come out and said, this is the immortality molecule. It is the one that can do the things to your declining stem cells. And I won't preface all of this on stem cells, but your stem cells are the ones that reproduce all the cells that you're using in your body that wear out. So we are, at one time at conception, we were a single stem cell. And from that, we're sitting here with maybe 40 trillion cells within our body, but we have about 220 different sets of stem cells that all have to do with duplication and supporting that which was created from conception. So we have all these systems going, but because of a number of factors, and it leads to aging. But you need to understand, aging now, if you think about it, it is a disease. It is not a disease. Aging is a condition because of things that have happened to you. So That has to do with cellular metabolism. Your car engine wears out, doesn't it? Your transmission wears out, doesn't it, if you kept it? So what do you do when it is breaking down and not functioning? You repair it, or you park the car, and that's the end of it. It's the same thing with your body. The internal combustion that's going on in all of your cells right now are creating a lot. In fact, you have more calculations going on in your brain right now than if you took 100 of the very largest supercomputers in the entire world and put them all in combination together. Your calculating power that is going on with your brain to control your body right now surpasses that. So those are impressive things to think about, but also with all of that activity comes wear and tear, and then we have our environmental factors that come in, that oxidizers, free radicals, those types of toxins that we have, and such a variety. This assault on our bodies is enormous. Diseases that used to be rare, like cancer, used to be rare. It is now so common with that kind of thing. Heart attacks are at higher rates, and you can go on with all of these things, diabetes, blah, blah, blah. But the important thing to understand is they're all because of conditions that have happened that have affected your biology. And so just like with your car engine goes bad, then you repair it, you overhaul it, or you fix whatever is not functioning right. And here comes the cavalry to the rescue, and that is the age pill. The ingredients in the age pill, I cannot say the age pill does it, and I have to qualify that because of FDA issues on that thing. Our product has not been tested to do these things, but the ingredients within them have been, and we put them together, and we put them in a synergistic blend of where the immense power of all them working together on a very complex system within the individual stem cells of your body is really impressive. It's magnificent with what it can be done, and we ain't done yet. We're doing even more, but when this new science that's coming out is so overwhelming and no one is moving on at least very fast, but I'm pretty well on top of most of it. And what I found with this is things to make it better and better and better. We've changed the age pill about 4 different times. We're going to change it again too. Maybe by the end of this year. But it's a whole new discovery we've got to add to it to put us into warp drive so that we can go at light speed, and then we're going to go beyond that with what we're doing. So the H pill comes in and takes these engines, if you will, the stem cells that are wearing out, and it goes through, and the ingredients in it will support the biological systems that were working the same when you're young, but now are not working well as you're getting older. And as the cells wear out, because just like a gasoline engine takes in oxygen and gasoline and explodes it, creates energy, your cells, all your cells, but stem cells in particular is one we want to talk about because they're not the expendable cells, but your stem cells take in a gasoline. It's of course a sugar, a glucose, but it acts like gasoline, takes in oxygen, explodes it, and creates energy. But over that, you get a lot of oxidation because you're splitting the oxygen molecule. That is what rust is. That's what's happening within you. All these systems are rusting, and you have a tremendous assault. Now you have antioxidants to neutralize them, but with age that goes down. Your immune system gets less efficient because it's just not functioning as well, and it becomes deteriorated in what it's doing. And all these things compound upon each other. And if you have a lot of toxins, a lot of free radicals, if you're not getting the right nutrition, all of these things happen within your body, and it has a very damaging effect on you. But it's like anything else. If there is a cause, then there can be found a solution, and we have found the solutions. So the ingredients in the H pill individually work on things like the oxidation creates plaque, like on your teeth, and it's in the inside of the cells, and it gums them up and sticks to them and caramelizes and hardens, but the cells are trying to remove it. So we have super nutrients that come in that will feed that system to where instead of plaquing up, you start deplaquing because you're supplying it to the body's natural system to remove all that plaque that is actually sticking together and inhibiting the proteins structures that you have within your body. Then the other thing is to produce a new cell. It takes all the material to produce a new cell, so a lot of nutrients go into a stem cell, and then it divides. Well, when that happens, there's a certain amount of biological waste from doing that, like building a house. You get done building a house, you got lumber and concrete and everything else laying all over, has to be cleaned up. Well, it's that same way. So within the cell, you have all of this biological waste, cellular garbage. Most of it goes out, but as you get older, especially the oil-soluble ones, they get sticky and they stick together, and they're too big to fit through the hole that takes them out, the orifice that takes them out of the cells. So here they are. But the body, when you're younger, is working on those things, but it becomes more inefficient due to the damage that takes place. So we have found the ingredients to come in to support those biological systems so that we can drain your stem cell swamp by utilizing your natural systems with these ingredients and the precursors, if you will, to these biological systems. So now, if we can remove the plaque buildup, if we can drain the swamp, then here we have the stem cell in itself, that the specific wear, tear, degeneration, all of that decay now has the ability, you can go in and tinker with that, and you do it on an epigenetic level. That's the term. And so we have a number of ingredients that support epigenic change. That means genetic contact with the genes. And it's happening right now in you, and doesn't depend on your age, but the older you are, the less is happening, and the more stem cells have become dormant, and so all that efficiency goes down. So what we now have is the ingredients that support epigenic activity within the cell. And the things that have gone down, like energy production, can go right up. In fact, it was at a high level. And then the stem cells start doing tremendous amounts of things for immunity, for longevity, for strength, for rebuilding tissues that have been deteriorating. Because as your stem cell activity goes down, so does your body mass with it. That makes sense. Okay, so if we can return those factors closer to when you were around 20 years old, and let's say you're 60, what is that going to mean for you? Or what if you're 50? What is that going to mean for you? The earlier you start, 40, the longer you're going to live. I think that you have the potential to live much longer and to have a very healthy body. And since aging is not a disease, it's a treatable condition, and that is now how we're looking at this thing. And the age pill, in my opinion, is the greatest, or the ingredient in the age pill is I have to say this thing properly, but the ingredient within the cells that the age pill is a precursor to support is the single greatest discovery in the history of human health. And I think the age pill takes that science and a number of other science and puts it together. I don't think it, I believe it, I know it, but you have to try it to use it, because it has that immense amount of power to do these things for your body. So all of that, here you have declining stem cells. Well, how far do they decline? Well, they go down to a point of where they become inactive. And as stem cells young, and then as it starts to age, and that is, remember, that's all from decay and degeneration. That's what causes aging. It's not a disease, it's decay and degeneration. So as your stem cells start to age, they go into a thing called senescence. It's like going down a slippery slide. And the further you go, the faster you go. That's why aging catches you so much when you get above 50 or 60, and you just see everything decelerating at a tremendous rate because it can't keep up with it. But here we come back in, and we can do all of these factors, and the cavalry is to the rescue of taking these stem cells that are in senescence and supporting the biological function so they can now function closer to where they were when you were in your 20s again. And so that leaves you a tremendous opportunity to do many other things. But what about the cells that have become dormant? I mean, they're not dead, but they're not active, and they're not reproducing anymore. Well, the problem with them is they are so full of toxins, and they start secreting the most dangerous, deadly toxins that cause the major diseases in your body: cancer, heart attack, dementia, Alzheimer's, a lot of things. There's many other factors, of course, too. But those are all oozing from the senescent stem cells. They're out of senescence. They are now senescent. and that means they are dormant. But the toxins that are being released, in my supposition from what I have read and studied, is those toxins are trying to draw the immune system in so that it will create a process called apoptosis, which is cell death. And the cell, if the genetic code is touched in there by the right ingredient, then the cell, that senescent stem cell, will go into like a suicide. It self-destructs. And then the immune system is in there, and it gobbles it up and cleans up all of the debris. Well, that is something that goes on in your body, but the longer you get, the more inefficient it becomes. And so here you get down there and you sit there at 60 years old, and you know what? Probably close to somewhere between 60 to 80% of your stem cells are not working any longer. You only have a small efficiency, 20 to maybe 40% if you're really lucky on that kind of thing. So the accumulated bank of now dormant stem cells greatly surpasses the active ones you have. So if we can take the active ones that you have and provide the biological support so they can become young again, how about all the ones that are laying there that are creating all these toxins, that are creating all of this damage within your body? What about them? Well, the body, when it comes through and through epigenetics, it triggers the apoptosis, so the cell dies. It's in a polyp. It's like, think of it like a rose. If you raise roses, you see a bud come out in the spring, and then pretty soon the bud forms and it starts to blossom, starts to open up, and stays that way for a while, and then it begins to wither. Your body's the same way. That's the same process. And then when it gets to a certain point, then the leaves, they dry up, they fall off, and that's it. But if you want new roses, when you see that happening, you just cut that bud, and it brings out a new rose, and you can have roses all over your garden. Well, do you want roses all over your garden with stem cells? How about all of these buds, these dormant senescent stem cells that are inactive? Wouldn't it be nice if we could take that massive amount, which for most of us, if you're over the age of 40, more than half of yours is most likely dormant, and if we can take, and it gets worse, then it's 60%, 70%. And then by the time you get in your 70s, you're down to maybe 2 to 5% of the activity of your stem cells. And you're sitting, you might be 95% dormant. No wonder that happens. So here's the second thing that we come through. And this is where our product XXX that we talked about, that is not a product, that is only a philosophy that we're putting together and wanted to provide to you so you can see the results of the ingredients. And that's why I told people at Mower Mountain, you're going to get information that is, in my opinion, priceless. You would never get from another company because they don't work on this biological epigenetic level. Well, epigenetics is the triggering of all this activity, and therein comes the ingredients in the age pill. But so when you talk about that and the epigenetics of regrowth, there's the flip side, and that's senolytics, and that's all the dormant stem cells. So what we have done, and some major discoveries has been done, and by another one of you all know the name of both of these, so I won't say it, but another one of the world's greatest research, I think it is the greatest research hospital in the world, is researching this, because now science is so advanced that which we did not know 5 years ago and just was a sort of a fantasy, thought something there, is now developed beyond our expectations. And so medicine is looking at this thing and seeing, wow, we can make a drug to do these things and make a fortune on it. Okay, that's their business to do it. But what they've discovered in the cases of what we're doing are natural ingredients that do just exactly that. They now realize from the epigenetic level of the cells that they're working with that it's going to have this tremendous effect. Now we synergistically put those all together, and the total is greater than the sum of the parts. Therein lies the age pill. But for the dormant pills, dormant stem cells, they're into, they are senescent. So there's a new system that's come out from this leading, well, not just from them, but also from some other sources too. Suddenly a university or a hospital research center just doesn't bring up something they've totally discovered. They find it's accumulation of other things. They develop them, test them, find better procedures. Okay, that work's done. Now they're trying to make a synthetic molecule out of what will handle dormant stem cells, senescent stem cells. And that is called senolytics. It's Senolytics. Senolytics. And that is the dormant stem cells. So what we have done is taken that science and have gone, and this is where the product is going to be so spectacular. And this research hospital has come out and said, we have found the immortality pill again, or ingredient, molecule. Well, this major university hospital research center, one most prestigious in the world, I think, has said they found the immortality molecule. Have they found the same molecules? The answer is no, they have not. One is in epigenetics, and that's what we're using in the age pill. The other is in senolytics, of dealing with the dormant ones, the buds of the roses, the petals have fallen off. And so now we've taken that science and we've put it together. And it's just not, yes, you can have a single ingredient that does something, but there are many other support products that are necessary to make that function the way it is. It's like a rubber tire. A rubber tire is mostly rubber, but you got about 2 gallons of oil that goes into the making of the tire, and you got steel and fiber and all the different things, or you wouldn't have a good tire. But rubber's the foundation you build upon. Okay, this immortality molecule, as they call it. Now, let me explain that immortality is a quest, a goal. I don't think we'll reach it, but I'll tell you what, I think we can streak down that road like light speed with what we have done and are now about to do. So I have the formulation that we have worked on, and it has been thoroughly examined. We have been testing it and seeing the results of the benefits, the features that you see with it. And I just published on Facebook, if those of you who haven't been on my site, you need to look at that, because I published some of the results are right there with mice. You have aged mice, and you have litter mates. One is very old, one is very young, one is very unhealthy, the other is very healthy. What is the difference? Senolytics. But they also have the same thing with the ingredients in the age pill, epigenetics. So if they're both doing that, what's happening here? With the one, you're salvaging the stem cells that are declining, the philosophy is, and this is what we've hypothesized. On the other side, you're taking the dormant ones that are so dangerous and so damaging to you, and it's almost like the Lazarus syndrome. They rise again from dormancy, and well, they don't rise. They are, the mechanism is apoptosis. So if an ingredient comes along, the body produces, and we know how to feed those to the body with this, at least we think we do. And so if it comes in, and now the natural cellular death, apoptosis is within a cell, now can be triggered. What happens? It's like the petals fell off the leaf and you clip the bud. And now out of that polyp that you have, that's the term I use for it, like the bud of a rose, comes a new stem cell. A new stem cell born again, created to replace the one that was so toxic and inactive. And so now you have the majority, for most of us, the majority of the cells are in the dormant stage, and now we start addressing those, to take those and to give them this immense amount of apoptotic, senolytic power that we have to get rid of them, to help the body, support the body. You have to say it the right way. I can't say the ingredients to it, or that's drug. But anyway, to come in and support the body, so now those dormant stem cells, they wither up, they're gone, and it will produce a new one. And so now this massive amount, let's say you're 60% dormant, 40% senescent, that means degrees of activity going down, and suddenly you start addressing that 60% that are only growing to 65, 70, 80, 90%. Instead of that, now you can start a mechanism that goes within the body, and out of that, the stem cells that are dormant are still there. The bud is still there. And if you remove those, then all these new stem cells can come back. But it's not a quick process, but it is a process. And it's quite a definitive one, and it can work reasonably fast. I think we'll be surprised at what we will see happen with this so much. And if you look at those photos that I have on Facebook, the animals, their hair is thin, it's gray, it's sparsy, their tails, their eyesight, their brain, you have even a section of the brain. And when the senolytics was brought into, voila, it's like born again. It is absolutely stunning what happens to these dormant stem cells. Now they become the stem cell. This is the theory, I have to say it that way. We hypothesize is that now these dormant ones now become like young ones again, and the more you restore, the younger you are, the greater the biological effect, the activity. You're producing more cells because you have now more active stem cells to do it versus inactive ones or ones that are diminishing in effect. And so now the power is immense because your reservoir of dormant cells, for most of us, are close to or exceeding the number that you have that are in declining senescent cells. So here we have two different philosophies on this. Epigenetics from the one that we've designed the age pill around, and now we are about to bring out the formulation that we have, and we'll name it. I know the name now with it. But we're going to bring that out. It'll probably be November. We're doing everything in our power, but some of these ingredients are so exotic, nobody has them. We have to have them made and brought in to what we're doing. And then the combination of them, I'm going to the max. I don't do the minimum like other companies. They'll put things in for a token amount. I put it in for the maximum amount, and I've taken these powerful ingredients, and fortunately, God has blessed me with the kind of mind that I understand the science, and I can go, and I found these things, and I file them, I store them, I think about them, I put them all together, and it's a blessing. And I don't mean, I'm not trying to overemphasize my role, and it's just the way that I'm wired to do that and my desire to do it. So out of that, I've putting together this formulation based upon this fundamental ingredient that supports senolytics and in apoptosis, and it's there. And then I found ways to magnify it in my own personal opinion, to magnify it, to exemplify it so that it goes out and becomes more profound and more effective. So now what do you have? You have two products based upon an ingredient that the two of the most credible institutions in the world say each one is the immortality pill. What's the real truth? They're not. You won't become immortal. But wouldn't it be nice to live another 50, 75, or if you're younger, maybe 200-300 years longer in a younger body and live to a very old age? That is the potential now that geneticists and people and longevity scientists are talking about is on the horizon. Well, yeah, I'll tell you what's on the horizon is immortality because, well, they think this is going to happen. We're making it happen now, and we're putting these products together. So if you take these two major products that we have and put them together, then what do you have? 1 and 1 is no longer 2. 1 and 1 with this is 1,000. It has immense amounts of power, and it can put you on that road to immortality. You're already on it with the age pill, and you're going down it very fast. Now we're going to throw in this new formulation, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it to light speed. You're going to be going down that, and you'll see things happening within yourself, I believe. It'll be self-evident. So you don't necessarily need to know the science and a few fundamentals, but the important thing is you can find that you are having results that you thought were lost forever. They could be coming back here. It certainly has done it in the animal studies, and now they're doing human studies on these things. But you know what, folks? Before they get a drug, you're looking at 10, 15, 20 years before that's out. But here's the natural ingredient, which doesn't have side effects. We got it. We're putting it together. We're going to have it there. So you have these two fireball products going down the road to immortality, leading to you won't become immortal, but to, I think, potentially tremendous longevity and restoration or maintenance of great health. And to take a body that is depleting and degenerating, to revitalize it to where it's closer to where you was young and powerful and the way that you were. And we're talking about most everything. This is the potential. I can't say it's been proven for it, although ingredients have. But we're talking about the potential with things like the brain, which is subject to so much damage. Well, now I can tell you things about the brain with Alzheimer's. The answers have been found for that, but they can't make a medicine yet. They're trying to work on it. But for dementia, the answers have been found with all of those things. And those are what we're putting together in the products that we're doing to support the stem cell activities, precursors that we have in the age pill, and now Synaletics, born again, that's coming forth. So now you have a potential that all of these, everything that makes you, remember at one time you were only one cell, and from that you become 40 billion, but they're all created by stem cells. So now what we're going to do is we're going to refresh those that are going down. We're going to take those that are dormant, bring them up. You have that 1-2 combination, which is not 2. It is 1,000, because what it can do for your body. So that's going to be out. It's probably going to be November with it, because this is complicated and quite expensive for us to do. But the product is going to be reasonably priced. You'll be quite amazed at what it can do and what it does cost, and you'll say, that's unbelievable. How could you get that power for that kind of money? Well, we can do it because we have this massive manufacturing plant. We're debt-free. We can buy all of these ingredients. We have about 30-40% in manufacturing costs that we would pay to somebody else, and we can plow that into ingredients. So we can come out in a world of laissez-faire, mediocre products, and we can come out with spectacular products that have dynamics that the world would love to have, that people have dreamt about. They were simply like folklore, but now this has become real science. But the key to it is, like I said, with your brain. All your past is there, but it's in your hands to do something with. Okay, so your future's in your hands. So what we're doing is we're taking all of the science that's been there, and we're putting that into a product which we are placing into your hands, or products and a system, so that the potential of what you can be more closely reached. In fact, is probably spectacularly reached for many of you with what we're doing. So I won't go through all of the different biological effects of this thing. Just trust me that I know, and I know what it is. But what you want is the benefits of this. And if you understand those simple premises of taking degenerating stem cells and supporting the body's internal mechanism with super nutrients in large quantities, that makes them become fully overhauled, so to speak, or close to being fully overhauled, or their potential, so they're working like when they're young. And then you take the dormant ones that are not dead, but are dormant and toxic, and suddenly those are removed, and up comes new stem cells, like you were born again in a way, all ready to go through a lifetime. And if we have the age pill working with those as it's coming, and the Synaletics coming together and getting and supporting the body's mechanisms to get rid of those stem cells that are dormant or senescent, what have you got? You have got potential. Who could talk about anything like this? Who could put out a product like this? You have no effective competition in what we're doing. There's a little bit coming out now in the to compete with the age pill, but they're into some technologies that have been greatly now they were good, but you know, a 1950 Chevy was pretty good, but I like a 2020 Ferrari, don't you? And that's what we're doing with these products and bringing them out. So now this is how it's going to work. If you are getting all of this activity from these two cells, then you want to bolt, or these two products, for stem cells, you want to bolt on things for your own particular biology that you're concerned about that might work for you. Now, the brain is a big one. And so there comes brain vitality. And with brain vitality comes a bonus that you haven't thought about. But women who are pregnant have a problem taking CBD. If they take CBD, they can have some negative, development of the fetus with it. But if you have a type of choline that is available to it, that never happens. And that type of choline, there are numbers of forms of it, but there is one that is outstanding, a recent discovery which we have, and it is by far the most biologically available one that is there. And so now you're taking the brain pill, or the brain vitality, and you have this agent, these agents within your pills to do all of these different things with it. And so what is it? It crosses over into CBD. It crosses over for aged people who's getting into dementia and Alzheimer's. And so you bring that out. We've got a lot of things in there I haven't got the time to talk about with brain vitality, but it's spectacular. So if you got a whole healthy body, don't you think you ought to have a brain that can function and remember and do and enjoy and all of that? Of course you do. How about eyes that can see, ears that can hear? All of those potentials are there, and so then you reinforce it. And so what is the power of this life? What is the power of the world? It's based on hydrogen. So now in comes the H2 stick with its potential to produce copious amounts of hydrogen. And hydrogen is the fuel. All the cells, 80% of the universe was built on it. The sun is hydrogen that comes down. That energetics now is diminished in your cell, and we can revitalize it so you shine bright. And then you have the power of things like the age pill, our senolytic product, XXX, and then brain vitality. And how about some super omegas? They provide the structure to make healthy cells, for lubrication in joints, for eyes, for vision, for the very lining, the membrane of brain cells are vital for it. So don't you want to add that on? Now, if you do some of those things with children, like brain vitality and the super omegas, whoa, you got a lot going for yourself. And then, but I won't go into the synergistic thing because of time of many of these other ingredients to tell you about them, because that's a big load to put on a short call like what this is. So here we are. We are about to unleash what may be the greatest product in the history of human health to run with the product we already have, which I believe also is the greatest discovery in the history of human health. You have no competition. You can smoke everybody on it. This is something that everyone wants. They just can't conceive. They think it's science fiction. It's not. This is real science. It works. It's immensely powerful. And if you have passion about it, you can't. One thing about you should be passionate about. You should be passionate about the products, passionate about the compensation plan, passionate about your business opportunity, and you'll get results. And that's what it takes. But you've got to have a foundation there to facilitate that upward growth that you're going to get, not just within your biology, but within your business and all of that. And you put the efforts together. For if you don't, others will. And those that do will have what you could have had, but won't. It is all here for you now. This is the great moment of your life, I think, in network marketing. Companies would die if but I don't think they could afford to buy products like this. But we've got a mechanism where we can put them out with this immense amount of power at a reasonable price. So you're getting them. So now we are coming out with promotions and dynamic promotions. You're going to be really quite impressed with what you can do, especially for recruiting, training, and developing new distributors. We are giving you the tools and the keys to do it with, supported by these tremendous products. Well, that's the mission that we are on. We're on the mission of supporting the regeneration of youth, for ending aging, for creating longevity, for living a much longer time at a much younger age, biological age. That is all possible. My biological age is, I haven't had it tested for a couple of years, but back then it was over 20 years younger than my chronological age. I don't know where it's at now, but I tell you what, I'm perkier than a rutting buck and ready to go, and I feel it because of the dynamics and the products that I'm actually using. The animal testing, a lot of it's being done on me, because I don't have a placebo effect. It's got to work. It's got to be self-evident. I got to see it with many things. Some things you just do it with supposition because the science is there and you don't feel the benefits, at least quickly. But I test everything to make sure that things are right. And we have people that are doing, we talk with the top scientists, the research firms that do it. We have independent chemical analysis done on our formulations besides what our laboratory does. All of that to give you that power so you can have confidence that there are no other products like this in the world, that no other company has anything like this in the world, that the compensation plan we have combined with these products gives you the greatest business opportunity in the world. How can you miss? You only can miss if you don't aim your sight and pull that trigger and make it happen. And this is the time to do that. So now we're bolting on these promotions that are going to come on that are going to really give you a aid in building your new distributor force and actually revitalizing your existing distributor force. The opportunity is massive, and this is a big one. That's why I said for Mower Mountain, it is going to be an event with so much information that you will, almost, well, too much perhaps, with what it is. But and there's so many things that we can talk about, so many other things that we're doing, and there's going to be a stage 3 coming out. Well, we got actually stage 1. What the 3 most important products are H-Pill, this new one we're coming out, the diatomic hydrogen water H2 stick with it. Then you have the triangle of life, very powerful, and all the others. So what a compliment. But it takes a little bit to know that, and you can't sell the whole load at one time, so you have to start off with 1 or 2 things to a person, and as they see the results and they start believing it, then it gives you the mechanism to go on to build a bigger organization with what you're doing. So anyway, here we are today. It's the first day of the rest of your life, and I tell you what, when the promotions kick here October 1st, just a few days, you need to get your rear in high gear to do it, because then we're probably going to run another 30 days or so, and then the next month we're going to have out this spectacular senolytic product, which rivals and may even exceed that of the H-Pill, but they both work different ways for epigenetics or senolytics at the cellular level to create the type of body, the type of health, the kind of vitality that you're looking for, not that just you're looking for, that everyone is looking for. But your mission now is to put this in your head and put it in a usable way so you can sell the benefits and put enough of the features just to support it enough to be very effective. And if you don't do it good at first, okay, keep doing it, because that's the only way you're going to get so you can do it good. Everybody goes through that process. I did too. First things I did in anything, in selling or presentations, were lousy, but I knew I could get better with practice, and I did. And it's the same. Many of you know that. It's just like playing the piano. As I said, more practice, the more skilled you become. So here we are now. What do we have? We have products like the world has never seen before. Products that they are dying to have, that people were hoping that were out there somewhere, but they were not, but the science is, and now we have created that science. So that which they hope for now is reality. Science fiction is now solid science, and you've got it. So when you talk about other companies, competitive companies with their nutritional, mediocre stuff, personal care products, full of toxins, all of that type of thing, we have everything together here. This is such a magnificent opportunity. But I hope I've impressed upon you to take this and run with it, because this thing won't ever come this way again. I doubt a company would ever rise up and be able to do some of these things like what we're doing, or all of these. I just don't think it's in the economics of business in that. People do the minimum they have to do to be competitive in the marketplace. We do the maximum that can be done so that we can do the very best that is possible. That's our different philosophy that we have, and I thank God for that and the fact that He's actually blessing us so we have these opportunities. It is the fullness of time, and this knowledge that was there that perhaps even the ancients knew, at least the benefits and what was there, where they lived to a great length of life, are now ours. They are in our hands. We have it to build this gigantic company with. You can build an enormous downline if you want. If you want to build a small downline, if you want to get your products paid for by a few people, that's okay. If you'd like to have enough to make your car payment, or we'll give you a car, or to get your house payment done, or how about if you had enough to equal the income you're making from your full-time job, where would that be? Where that would be is you are on the launching pad now to becoming into the point of becoming wealthy. So happy, healthy, wealthy, those are the things we're putting together. And with this latest discovery we have, this isn't just a discovery. This is like a super nuke going on. And we have the H field. It's a super nuke. We have the H2 stick. It's a super nuke. We put them all together and you bolt on these other things. What do you have? You have the kinds of things that empires, dynasties in business and in personal growth and health and everything is here for you. But it is all of this is being done for you. So in spite of what I'm talking about with products, compensation, business structure, everything, you have to understand you are the single most important part of this. And we're doing everything for you. Not just for you, but for what you can do for others. And that's where the principles of multi-level marketing are so great, because you get what you want by helping other people get what they want. So don't get ready, get going now, because this thing is going to go. You're going to see millions of distributors, maybe tens of millions, joining around the world. And you're going to see such volumes. It's going to be in your own backyard. It's going to be everywhere. You have a global seamless plan. You can recruit all over the world. So get going, get doing it. Do the things. And of course, I know you have family, you have all. Sure, all that goes together. And you have a job that you're working on, most of you. But you know what? Those things can be made much better. Don't you want to put your kids through education? Don't you want to have that dream house? Don't you want to go on those vacations that you could have and your family can have and friends and all of that? Well, it's right here in your hands. You have to but reach out and take it and run with it. So there's nothing like Sisel, I believe, and my life is dedicated to it. When it comes to retiring, it ain't in my plan. When it comes to dying, it ain't in my plan. I'm going to do everything I can to make that work for me, because it makes it work for you. So that's my message for today. I'll turn the time back over to you, DW.
Tom, that brought the wow factor to the call.